Hello, my name is Elbert Files. I'm president of the American Anti-Corruption Institute, and we're going to talk a little bit about the history of corruption. Why the history of corruption? It really lets us know again and again that corruption is nothing new. Corruption is as ancient as civilization, and that the response to and impact of corruption has not changed at all in many thousands of years. The definition of corruption from the Oxford Dictionary means is somebody who is dishonest or fraudulent in the exercise of their power. The word corruption, though, actually comes from a Latin, and the Latin translation through the years is either marb, bribe, or destroy. And I think that's really fascinating that even today we look at the word as corruption and we don't understand the underlying problem of corruption is the destruction that it takes upon a civilization. But this is really nothing new. As we're looking at the news today, what do we see? We have the Lava Jato in Brazil, billions paid back and forth. You have the 1MDB scandal in Malaysia that was just stunningly brazen. 4.5 billion was raised in a public bond offering, another 7 billion raised in private notes, and it was stolen, just taken. And it was so poorly done, they found an account in Singapore in the Prime Minister's name. Come on, people, if you're going to steal, at least a bit more, be more creative than that. And then we have the South Korean impeachment of Park Geun-hye for bribery and other charges in 2018. This is nothing new. The good point is that Malaysia and Korea and Brazil and those who are attacking corruption are setting the right tone. Let's take a look at Crassus. Crassus was a Roman general, active just around the time of Julius Caesar. In fact, he, Caesar, and Pompey formed what was called the Triumvirate of Leaders. And Crassus was known, I think as Plutarch put it, I have to look at my notes, his reputation for respectability was saved by his reputation for avarice, a backhanded compliment. And what Crassus would do is he would come up with schemes on ways to make money. In Rome, he had a fire brigade. When a house caught fire, or a building, he would have the fire brigade run over, and then they would offer to buy the house that was burning. It was a very simple approach. They would pay more in the beginning, and they would continue to pay less as the house continued to burn. At a point in time, the owner of the house either accepted the sale of his house to regain some money or value of the house, or watch it burn to the ground and get nothing. Crassus was also very good at seizing or condemning large tracts of land and giving some of that land to people whose favor he desired, as well as selling it off to the wealthy of Rome for their farms and estates. Crassus met a very nasty end. When he was crossing the Euphrates and going after the Parthian Empire, he was caught. The Roman troops were surrounded, they lost their eagle staffs, and he was taken prisoner. The Parthian king, in retribution for the spoils of war taken on Crassus's campaign to Parthia, killed Crassus by pouring molten gold down his throat to show that this avarice will be the end of you. The corruption in Rome, in the Republic of Rome, finally led to Imperial Rome, which was the beginning of the end of the Roman Empire. It became who you knew, what you had, and how you could make more. There was no longer the voice of the people. Government was no longer stable. Rules could be bought as well as judges. So what do we see today? We see increasing corruption scandals around the world. How do the scandals come to light? It could be a leak. It could be a disaster, a natural disaster. Could be someone finally whistleblowing. Corruption doesn't have to be there. Corruption exists because it works for those that are corrupt. However, in the process, it destroys the civilization from which the corrupt are harvesting their riches. Corruption works because it works for the corrupt. It's a great risk fixing tool. If you're going to go bid a contract and it takes you tens of thousands of dollars to bid a contract, why not make sure a few $1,000s make it into the hands of people making the decision? That way, it's a no risk. You've fixed the outcome. And that's the point of corruption, is it fixes an outcome. Why is this so bad? Well, quite frankly, it traps society in the past. If those people in power are always fixing the outcome, they have no desire to allow change whatsoever. Schumpeter's creative destruction is essentially frozen. Can you imagine the telephone companies buying votes in governments to make sure that cell phones couldn't come in? Therefore, we'd all have to have a landline? Can you imagine this on a larger scale across the world? And it's not hard to imagine. The point is, corruption has destroyed civilizations throughout history. We're not immune from the destruction of a civilization here because of corruption. We've seen it time again, and it's not a problem of developing countries. It's also a problem of developed countries. Some of the bribery that we've seen in the EU has been stunning. Some of the bribery and corruption that we found in the United States has also been heartbreaking as well as stunning. The good news, though, is that we're addressing it. The bad news is we must continue to work at it. What do we need to do? We need to have effective institutions that help eliminate the opportunity for corruption and at the same time prosecute corruption.